The playoff picture is officially set, and we got Matt Ryan here to break down the quarterbacks in each conference. We're going to rank them on who you would want going in to these playoffs. Not who played the best this year. We can have that conversation. We can have the MVP, all-pro conversation another time. But who do we want heading into the playoffs to win us a game? And we're going to start with the AFC because it's a dogfight in the AFC. Trying to rank these quarterbacks on who's the best is a difficult task. That's why I'm passing it off to you, Matt. How would you rank the quarterbacks from top to bottom, who you want to win a playoff game for you this year?
First of all, I want to be clear about this. I hate this assignment. I do not like this assignment. But I'm going to do the assignment. I think at the top in the AFC, obviously, you're taking Patrick Mahomes. I don't think anybody would disagree on here, given his track record in the playoffs, ability to win games late. He's done that all season. He's an absolute killer in the playoffs and knows how to finish. And so I think we'd all, I'm guessing we're all in agreement there that he's number one in the AFC.
Correct. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So then I went 2A, 2B. All right. Because I don't think you can pick here. You got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, 2A, 2B. It's like the MVP debate. Give me either of them. I really don't care. Give me either of them, 2A, 2B. I think they're right there behind there. Okay, so I think we're all kind of, in some way, shape, or form, that's how we see the top. And then there's a little gap, right? There's a little separation between those three guys and, in my opinion, everybody else. At 4, I would put Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert would be the fourth quarterback I would want right now. 5, I would take C.J. Stroud. And that might be a bit high given how they've thrown the ball this year. I just feel like he's got something inside of him, right, that knows how to compete. I go back to the college football playoff at Ohio State and the performance that he had in those games. Like he performs when the moment is the biggest. He did it last year in the playoffs. I'd take him at 5. Number 6, I'd go Bo Nix. I'd go Bo Nix right now. His athleticism, ability to make plays outside the pocket, I think he's throwing it really well. I think Sean Payton will do a good job of game planning for him. Sean Payton's got a lot of experience in playoff football, knows how to get his team prepared and ready to go. And then at the 7 spot in the AFC, I put Russell Wilson. I think he has struggled. I think their offense has struggled the last couple of weeks. It's not a slight on Russ. It's just how I see that spot in the AFC right now.
I think you're right on there with Russell Wilson because it's less indicative of Russell Wilson's performance and, to your point, more indicative of the fact that they haven't been able to gel at the end of the season offensively. Their most talented guy, George Pickens, doesn't just not show up this past week against the Bengals. In fact, drops balls, has explosions mentally, is a distraction. And we've seen it when they're at their best, Matt, and you can echo this, it's when George Pickens is involved. And they just haven't been able to get that done. I like having Bo Nix at 6. I think it's a no-brainer having Patrick at 1. And I thought it was masterfully done with the 2A and 2B with Josh and Lamar. It's kind of like pick your character. It's like when you're picking in Mario Kart. You just got to pick Mario or Luigi. The cars go the same speed. They just, different uniforms.
There you go. That's
I don't disagree with those rankings whatsoever. I think it was very shrewd of you to go 2A, 2B. You knew that the CBS social teams come in to put this on a graphic, to put it out on Instagram, to put it out on Twitter, and knew that if you went one ahead of the other, that you were going to get some blowback. So smart there. I do think the Russell Wilson, Bo Nix conversation is interesting. I think the decider for me would be Nix's mobility right now. Not that Wilson isn't mobile, but like Nix is really, like, his legs have been a weapon for the Broncos all season long. And I wouldn't be surprised if they lean into it more, especially with their running game.
I agree.
Bo Nix's ability. It's just like this point in time, got to leave it all on the line. I think when you add that extra guy in the running game, it just gives a numbers advantage to your offense, and the running game hasn't been that great all season long. All right, let's flip to the other conference.
Yeah, not to pile on Russ, but one of the other reasons is they're a 50-50 ball. Like, his strength is 50-50 balls, right? Of throwing the ball down the field, giving opportunities. It's hard to hang your hat on that as like the staple of your passing game. You don't know if it's going to show up any given week, right? And a lot of what he has done historically well in his career is off-schedule plays. Same type of thing, right? It's not something you hang your hat on showing up 3 or 4 times. 4 times is what they're going to need. So love Russell, love his career, love all of those things, but that's where he nets out for me.
That's a great point with like the inconsistency, and something I've kind of, not to go off topic too much here, but like Kyler Murray is the prototypical like poster child for that, because he just goes so up and down based off of if he hits a few of those a game. If he hits a few of those, you're in trouble. He doesn't hit those, the offense looks like he can't do a darn thing. Let's get to the NFC. A little bit, I don't want to say easier, because I think
this is harder,
you know, more of a jumbled mess, but not as controversial. I think you're not going to make as many people upset in this one if you rank it a different way. So who you got, Matt?
I mean, I'm not sure. I'll probably piss some people off, but that's all right. All right, number one, I'm going to go Jared Goff. And I look at the pieces. The way they played last night was phenomenal. They needed it, and they showed up, right? And so he's been in a Super Bowl. He's taken them deep into the playoffs with the Lions. I think he's primed for these kind of situations. I love the pieces around him, too. Number two, I'm going to take Matthew Stafford. Okay? And so I love Puka Nacua, love Cooper Kupp, love what they're doing. I love him, love how he throws it. I like McVay. Their matchup against Minnesota is going to be really difficult. I get all of that. But if you're asking me strictly about the quarterback position, who I would take of those guys, Stafford would be 2. Right now, Baker Mayfield would be 3. I think he had a great season. Put that team on his back. I think he's gutsy. I think he's competitive. I think he's played really well. Number 4 is Sam Darnold for me. And this is where I start to get into this gray area. I'd probably have Jalen Hurts above him, coming off that concussion, in the protocol. What do we have in terms of injuries, that kind of stuff? I have him just a little bit lower at number 5. Number 6, I go Jaden Daniels. I'd put him in that spot. Rookie, a little bit inconsistent. Or I shouldn't say inconsistent. I don't mean that. A little bit just lack of experience in these kind of games, although he's been clutch all season. But the playoffs are a different animal. And then number 7, I think the biggest concern going into the playoffs for any team is Jordan Love, given what happened to the elbow yesterday. And so that's how my NFC nets out.
Yeah, we're gonna be a little different on this one. I do. It just because there's no clear cut where to go. You have multiple injuries. You got Hurts coming off the concussion. You have Love with the elbow. And I do agree that Love with the elbow, and even just like the way he's been playing the last couple of weeks, it's just, I'm not ready to buy in the way I even was last year. It was just a much different vibe for the Packers, even if they barely snuck into the playoffs last year. It just felt like a team that was trending the right way. Right now, it just does not feel that same way. I would go Stafford 1, though. I still think, yes, the offense hasn't been near what the others, but the guy's done it, right? I do think that's a big thing when it comes to playoff time, and why I would not have Darnold where you had him. I would actually have Darnold last out of all these guys, because week 18 scared the you-know-what out of me with how he played against the Detroit Lions in a de facto playoff game, right? That was for the 1 seed. That's basically, saves you a game, moves you on in the playoffs. That we've seen this kind of story before, right? The seeing ghosts thing. It's the guy has a track record of duds. And when that's the case, heading into the playoffs, when the pressure's only more, right? There's even more pressure next week than there was in week 18. And it's not only just the pressure to win, there's financial pressure too. Because if he shows up and wins a couple games and looks good, the contract he's going to get versus if he doesn't show up and looks bad is, it could be $50-60 million a difference for him on the line here. So that, to me, I'm just worried about Sam Darnold. I don't know. What did you see this past week from him against the Detroit Lions?
It wasn't great. I agree. But my level of confidence goes up when you have Justin Jefferson, when you've got Jordan Addison, when you've got Naylor, when you've got TJ Hawkinson. I just feel like they've got players around him. And listen, that matters. You know it as well as I do. The guys you have, the game breakers that you have on the outside, it only takes 1 or 2 of those, to come up with the play. I thought they were overly aggressive on 4th down early in that ball game. I think the game shakes out differently if you put points up on the road in critical games, right? You start to force pressure back onto the Lions. That was a little bit out of character from Kevin O'Connell, in my opinion. And so I think they'll learn from that. So I would have him up a little bit higher, but I think he make valid points.